Hello everybody. Today we are going to get a bit technical. We're going to set up the API version 8 for SuiteCRM. Okay, so let's go. For setting up the API, we need a couple of things. So let's start with a setup guide. It will definitely help to make things easier because there are a couple of processes or steps involved. Next thing is Composer that we need to download and install on our virtual private server, web server on inside the SuiteCRM environment. We need, of course, our CRM system. Then we need something like Postman where you can test the whole stuff, and you need to have access to SSH, to the browser, to the console to access the server itself. But let's start with a setup guide. So first of all, there's an introduction, JSON API, very good. So there's JSON API, HTTPS. Well, I'll get to this in a second. Let's skip this one here. So in here we are referring to RFCs and so on. So here, usually if you install this on a kind of secure environment, if you installed your SuiteCRM there, you should be good to go already, especially if you have SuiteCRM 8, because there you've got this this pre-check during installation, so OpenSSL will be installed. Then here, technically, it doesn't have to be. You can do this via HTTP as well, but I would only do it like me here in this specific case because I'm having a virtual machine on my computer and it's not transferred via the network anywhere. So therefore, I can use for the demo data on my local machine non-SSL transfer, but in all other cases, I would definitely go with SSL because otherwise you're transferring your passwords, your customer data in the clear text over the network, and you don't want to do this. And then, of course, SuiteCRM 8 doesn't work anymore with 5, therefore you should be good already. So before you start calling endpoints, so here we have to go through a couple of installation and preparation steps. Let's start with Composer. So you have to call Composer install here. Problem is maybe Composer is not yet installed. So what can we do there? In order to install it, we can download Composer, and there's a local setup environment possibility. Let's go through it. So here, print working directory, I'm inside my SuiteCRM root directory, as you can see. So I want to execute the following commands as the web server user. So in order that it works easily and the permission issues and so on, so therefore I don't have to bother with any permission afterwards. Same for those here. So this one is basically not a requirement. It's just like a precaution to check and verify that there's that your installer is not corrupt. Now I want to do the setup, which might take a couple of seconds only. And again, as the web server user, yep, that's pretty much all. And now I can just remove the setup file itself, because now I'll show you in a bit. We've got so now we've got the executable here, which will help us to run the following commands. So now back to this one here, and now since we have a local installation, I need to change this command slightly. So again, I'm doing this as the web server user. Composer. So I need to use the local directory or the current directory, and then it works exactly. So and then I do the install, and here it might be downloading a couple of things now. Yeah, as you can see. So it's trying to download the things, and then it's doing some checking. These are more or less just warnings with auto-loading standards. It is possible to ignore them for now. So you see, it continues running, so we might be good to go. We'll figure this out in just a bit. Next thing, we want to go to this directory, but let's give it a try. Moving to this directory, but it doesn't exist, of course not, because we're now in version 8, and therefore this correct directory would be public, legacy, and then we're here, and here it exists. And if I look into this one. So far, nothing has been prepared here. Now I need to generate keys. So the first key that I need, again, as the web server user, is this one here, the private key. And then a public key built on the private key minus w data, so writing RSA key, okay. And now since I did this already as the web server user, I don't have to do the ch own command, I just have to do this one here. So here I want to change the permissions on the files in order to have nobody writing into those files. And as you can see, now we only have write and read access for the owner itself. We don't have to do this one anymore, and that's basically it. Now, encryption key, if you want to look into this was during the installation. Additionally, the mod rewrite, I think the new version should already be taking care of this, SuiteCRM 8, because you can't really use this without mod rewrite. Therefore, you should be good to go and have this already. Next thing that we need is we need to have our authentication, but we don't have this on this side, but on the next side. And now we have two different options. We have one password grant and one client credentials grant that we can use. And now we actually have to switch into the CRM, have to go into the admin area. And there you can see, I have two clients and tokens. That's exactly what we need. And here you can create, but I would avoid this because there are two options, so you don't really know what you're creating when you're creating it from there. And here I want to create the new client credentials, so not the password client. And there you can just name it whatever you see fit. I call it general integration or something. You could use, for every single integration that you have, you could use different clients and different permissions. That makes a lot of sense if you have like a high security environment and want to be very careful on this one. And then it looks quite good. So change secret could be anything which is like a password. Sometimes use a MD5 generated hash token or whatever. Here I prepared this already. So I'm just using a secure password. Is confidential? Yes, of course it is. And associated user, that's what I said before. If you have multiple integrations, then you can use multiple different users with different roles, and they have rights accordingly. Now, this ID here is being printed out here in the record itself as well. And we need this one additionally, and we need this here. And you will see this in a bit if we scroll down a bit further inside the documentation. So here I created my client credential grant and I did everything as they told me to do. And now we have seen this one. So the next thing is, now we need to access our SuiteCRM system from the API via, you can use anything, Insomnia, Postman or whatever, however you see fit. I just have Postman installed, and that's why I'm using it like this. And we already know it's a JSON API, so the required parameters are a payload, a JSON payload, and it expects, see this one here, exactly what I've got over here. Grant type, client ID, that's what I just got from here, the 458 exactly, and then the secure password. I before copied this one into my CRM when I created the client credential. So going back here, additionally, it wants to be a post request. You probably, if you're here, you probably know the difference already, get, post, patch, delete, and so on. So if not, check out what they mean. Post, I need to transfer a payload along with a request. The request endpoint is this one, but here again, careful. If you use SuiteCRM 7, it will work out of the box. If you use SuiteCRM 8, the public directory is the directory that you're working from anyway, that your web server root is. Inside the public directory is a legacy directory, and since the V8 API belongs to the legacy API as well now. It probably is not discontinued anytime soon, but it just belongs into the folder because we have a new user interface on GraphQL. Therefore, you've got the API access inside here. So now we can try to post a request. No, not now yet, because here we've got a space inside and it's a different user. We don't have this. Our user has this ID. And now this user, or we should be able to access the API and get a response from the API. So the response is being displayed here. And as you can see, the response is like a data, like an object as well. Token type is a bearer token, expires in 3,600 seconds. Okay, very well. And our access token is this one here. And for the next request, you're now going to use the access token and use it in your header for the request, and then you can work with the API in an automated manner. Let's check on the other side again. So here we've got exactly the example. Here we've got what we expected and received as well. And now we can use this one inside the header in this way. Sounds good. That worked out. But what to do with this now? So now you need to go back, because here you've got all the API endpoints and options listed. So of course you can list all the accounts. You can get a single account. You can get all the relationships. You can create new relationships, update, change relationships via the API. You can update, delete, create every single module record that you have there, and you can check out what you can do. So there's a lot of options here. And basically what we have done now is we have created the fundamental requirement in order to integrate your systems so that automation across systems is possible. And now you can go ahead, use your, N8N, make.com, or whatever system you're using, and maybe Python or other programming language, and then you develop against this API here, and you can look into my next videos as well, what you can do with API with the extension of possibilities inside your CRM system. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye. See you next time.